Hello everyone, welcome to the True Crime Stories channel. Today we dive into a chilling case involving either twisted lovers or innocent victims. We'll explore a story shrouded in mystery and horror, uncovering dark secrets and shocking events. Get ready to delve into the details of this unsettling tale, examining motives, key moments, and crucial evidence. Join us as we unravel the suspense and discover the truth behind this eerie case. On April 7th, 2024, the Mrs. Buryatia contest was held in Anyulan, Republic of Buryatia, Russia. Seseg Buinova, a 30-year-old mother of two, received the Mrs. Top Model, immediately became famous throughout the country. However, this fame was short-lived as she quickly disappeared from public view. Just 4 days later, the finalist went missing, and for 4 months, there was no news of her. Investigation agencies, relatives, and concerned citizens are constantly searching for the missing woman. Despite their efforts, the investigation only leads to more questions and more outlandish speculations. Today, we will delve into the mysteries of the investigation and try to discover what happened to the East Siberian beauty queen. On April 11th, Seseg called her husband Boris, who was on a business trip, asking him to send money for groceries. She informed him that she was going to do housework, which seemed like a normal day. That night, however, Seseg decided to make some money himself. Occasionally, she works as a taxi driver in her Mitsubishi Outlander to supplement their income, although her husband disapproves, especially when she works late. Despite his worries, Seseg assured him that she was safe and not in any danger. At around 8 p.m., Seseg left the house, and about an hour and a half later, she was free to welcome guests. Around 10 p.m., she met some friends for coffee. After a short conversation, they all went their separate ways. Seseg told friends that she was going home to her children and even called them to say she would be home soon. Instead, she drove to Absolute Shopping Center, where CCTV footage showed a young man entering her car. They were in the car for about an hour before a second man joined them. The vehicle then left the parking lot and headed toward the H100 block. Seseg never returned home, and it later emerged that a man named Stanislav Norbov had disappeared with her. Seseg Buinova was born on July 8, 1993, in the small village of Tashir, Solinsky District, Republic of Buryatia. Information about her early years is scarce, but it is clear that she was a very active girl who loved dancing and sports, especially volleyball. This sport has taught her strong discipline and the will to win. After completing her secondary education, she moved to the capital and enrolled at Buat State University, graduating in 2015. A go-getter, Seseg registered as an individual entrepreneur and specializes in eyelash extensions. To this day, her advertisements for these services can still be found online. In December 2022, Seseg opened a children's clothing store and occasionally worked as a private carriage driver. Seseg has shared many important moments in her life on social networks. During her college years, she got married. The marriage gave birth to 2 beautiful sons, Carl and Alexander, aged 9 and 8 respectively, in 2024. Seseg was a devoted mother, raising her children with love and care. Her husband Boris, although rarely seen in photos together, works for an organization that handles stray dogs and was a law enforcement officer. Many people appreciated him, noting his support and love for his creative wife. There was no argument between the couple. At least no one witnessed it. Seseg regularly posts about her trips to Moscow, St. Petersburg, Turkey, Thailand, and Cuba, and shares colorful photos of these trips. She enjoys dressing stylishly, taking care of herself, going to the gym, and socializing. Often seen at local restaurants, clubs, and karaoke bars, she is always well-behaved, enjoying a beautiful life of social interactions and charm. She knows how to express herself, always wears fashionable clothes, beautiful makeup, and regularly arranges professional photo shoots. One day, Seseg decided to participate in a national beauty contest. She easily passed the qualifying round and reached the final round. The contestants shared their journey during the 2 months of preparation on their social media accounts, revealing behind-the-scenes secrets, masterclasses, training, and more. Finally, on April 7th, the final match of the competition took place. On stage, Seseg tries to show off his talent as much as possible, even realizing his childhood dream by singing in front of a large audience. According to the contest results, the jury unanimously awarded her the title of Mrs. Model. Seseg had hoped that participating in such an event would mark the beginning of her career in the modeling industry. However, just a few days later, she disappeared without a trace. News of the beauty queen's disappearance spread quickly. The first person to warn her was her husband, who was in Khabov at that time. On April 12th, he sent Seseg a few photos of his trip, but she did not respond. When he didn't hear anything from her all day, he called his mother-in-law and asked her to check their house. The village of Gorky where they lived was on the outskirts of Annan. It turned out that the children had been left alone and Seseg had not come home since the previous evening. Upon hearing the disturbing news, Boris immediately flew to UTK and drove back to their village. By the morning of April 14th, he was there. At this time, Seseg's relatives reported her disappearance to the police. Law enforcement officers quickly organized a search operation with the participation of volunteers from Liza Alert's specialized search and rescue team. On the evening of April 12th, information about Seseg's disappearance was posted on social networks. Experts began tracing her last known route, distributing flyers across the city and gathering information. More than 500 people were involved in the search, combing many areas including the settlements of Vac, Mistru, Medivi Chico, 100th subdivisions, forests, and riverbanks. The first important clues were found in the industrial park. Volunteers exploring the area noticed a mattress with male and female belongings underneath, along with bloodstains on the grass nearby. They discovered women's black tights, men's and women's jackets, t-shirts, men's underwear, and gym bags. Inside the man's jacket pocket were a Nissan car key, an apartment key, and the driver's license of 26-year-old Stanislav Norboev. Stanislav was known as a cheerful and diligent person. He graduated from the construction department of the East Siberian State University of Technology and Management, enjoys playing football, serving in the army, and working in the road department. His mother, Nina Norev, described him as supportive. Friends and family commented that he was calm, cautious, and had a healthy lifestyle and exercise. He has a wide circle of friends. In early April, Stanislav moved out of his mother's house to a rented apartment in the 100th block, justifying his decision by saying that he wanted to build a new relationship and create a family. He does not share this information with anyone else. The investigation into the disappearance of Seseg Buinova and Stanislav Norboev has revealed a complex web of events. Both of their backgrounds were thoroughly examined to uncover any potential connections or reasons for their disappearance. Friends and acquaintances were interviewed and digital footprints were analyzed. Items found in the industrial park provided vital clues, and forensic analysis of the bloodstains was crucial in understanding the events of that fateful night. Police continue to follow every lead, hoping to find Seseg and Stanislav. Local community involvement and widespread media coverage helped the case gain public attention. Speculation and theories about what happened to them range from foul play to voluntary disappearances, but the truth remains elusive. As the search for Seseg and Stanislav continues, their family remains hopeful, supporting each other through uncertainty and fear. The community rallied around them, offering support and solidarity. The incident highlights the importance of quick action and cooperation in missing person investigations, highlighting the role of volunteers and specialized search teams such as Liza Alert. It is clear that Stanislav Norbov and Seseg Buinova did not meet by chance. Something linked the young people, although the exact nature of their connection remains unknown. Determined to discover their relationship, relatives of the missing people begin investigating how they knew each other. Two main versions of their story have emerged. First, according to Seseg's friend Katerina, they met about a week ago at a nightclub. As the establishment was about to close, Stanislav invited Seg to a slow dance. Then he found Seseg on social networks and started sending her lots of messages. Seseg confided to his friend that she did not exchange contact information with him, but Stanislav persisted in his efforts to contact him. Katerina expressed her confusion in an interview, noting that he knew Seseg was a married woman with children, making his behavior alarming. It was later revealed that Seseg was not the only woman Stanislav texted. On the other hand, another close friend confirmed that Seseg and Stanislav met much earlier, claiming that they often crossed paths during volleyball practices, a sport they both loved. This theory suggests that romantic feelings may have arisen between them, something that Seseg's husband Boris eventually discovered. Allegedly, unable to cope with the betrayal, Boris decided to teach his unfaithful wife a lesson, but perhaps things turned out badly, leading to their deaths. This theory is supported by other facts that will be discussed later. Therefore, the investigation did not fully trust Boris and considered him the main suspect. In his interview, Boris complained that the investigative committee refused to cooperate with him, withholding information about the tests conducted. He mentioned an incident where an earring was found, but he was neither informed nor invited to identify it. Boris also reported that investigators seized video from his phone. He claimed that if he had actually participated, he would have been behind bars. He expressed his frustration. "Whoever accuses me is their right, they speak too softly." Relatives of the missing woman unanimously affirmed that Boris was innocent, emphasizing that he and Seseg had many plans for the future, including renovating their home and dreaming of having a third child, a daughter, youngest daughter. They argued that as soon as Boris returned home, he began an independent search for Seseg, further proving his innocence. A few days after the investigation began, Seseg's vehicle was found parked with its license plate removed in a residential area. A resident of the apartment building at 60 Stelbaya Street noticed that the car, matching the description of the one shown on news channels, had been left unattended for several days. Boris arrived at the scene and recognized his wife's car, but it was empty. Upon inspection, there was sand, dust, and a small tree branch inside the vehicle, suggesting it was in a natural setting, possibly an empty lot. Traces of blood were found on the inside of the driver's window and door, and a removed license plate was discovered in the trunk. A genetic test confirmed the blood belonged to Seseg, but the exact timeline of the car's presence remains unclear. Based on the testimony of a witness and a closer look at surveillance footage, a clearer picture of the events begins to emerge. According to taxi service records, Seseg completed her last order on the Barnauskaya-Armaverskaya route at 8:52 p.m. She then called a friend at 8:57 p.m. and arranged to meet near Krona Flower Salon on Buinova Street. They met another friend at a cafe, but after a friendly conversation, Seseg did not come home. Instead, at 10:41 p.m., she drove to a shopping center located at 158 Babushkina Street, where Stanislav came to meet her 4 minutes later. Surveillance footage showed them staying in the car for about an hour before another man joined them, after which they drove off in an unknown direction. At 12:19 a.m., street cameras recorded the Mitsubishi at the intersection of Babushkina and Reno Streets, moving toward Dua Street. Their traces disappeared after that. Investigators determined that Seseg last accessed her Telegram account at 12:44 a.m., and an hour later her car was seen speeding back at 6:28 a.m. On April 12th, Stanislav's cell phone was found at 5 Sakova Street, not far from where Seseg's car was later found. As new clues emerge, hopes of finding the missing individuals alive dwindle. The identity of the third person who boarded the Seseg remains one of the biggest mysteries. Investigators have been reluctant to reveal his identity, but there are reports that he previously worked in law enforcement. This theory emerged after guards at the industrial park where the items were found provided vital information about that fateful night. Around 1 a.m., drivers of passing trains noticed a car in a vacant lot and saw a man near the tracks. Concerned for their safety, they reported the incident to their superiors. Several guards went to investigate and found a man wearing a baseball cap who said his car had stalled. He showed them his police badge before driving away as the guards decided to check the surrounding area. The car was later identified as Seseg's car, but the guards could not recall the man's appearance or the details on the ID card, citing poor visibility at night. The fact that the car was placed in the blind spot for the nearest surveillance camera showed that the third person was not a normal person. The popular program on a local TV channel conducted an investigation, proposed various theories, and invited relatives of missing people and experts to the studio. The most important revelation was exclusive CCTV footage, shown for the first time, of a car similar to Seseg driving through the area. The CCTV footage revealed a series of important events. The video shows Seseg's car driving into an empty lot and then stopping. Several individuals exited the vehicle and a struggle ensued. One person fell to the ground and another person was seen pulling something large and long out of the car. This person then got back in the car and drove away, only to return 45 minutes later. At this time, two strange men approached the car, the headlights turned off, and the video ended. This video has the potential to provide new insights into the tangled case and lead to positive developments. In addition, there are many strange things surrounding the disappearance of Seseg and Stanislav on the night of April 11th to 12th. Near the location where the evidence was found, outbuildings were on fire. Some believe this was no accident and that someone set it ablaze to destroy evidence. Furthermore, the next day, unknown people poured concrete into the place where Seseg's Mitsubishi, with 3 passengers, was believed to be. It's clear that the case is shrouded in mystery, and someone is actively preventing it from being solved. By April 17th, hundreds of volunteers searched Amana Street, entire industrial zones, abandoned buildings, ravines, forests, hills, and wasteland. Search operations on the river were difficult due to drifting ice. Despite distributing more than 2,000 leaflets and questioning many individuals, search efforts yielded only limited results. Just as concerned citizens from other areas began arriving in the city, the Liza Alert Search Group announced a temporary halt to its operations. In their social media post, Liza Alert's leadership explained that their headquarters had completed tremendous work in 5 days, but the search for Seseg and Stanislav would continue as they waited for evidence new. Several items, including women's boots, e-cigarettes, and hats, were found at the investigation site. However, only a man's jacket with papers and keys was officially confirmed to be related to the case. Volunteers noted that the vacant lot was littered with trash, complicating search efforts. Despite the temporary suspension of volunteer search operations, relatives of the missing continued their efforts. Suspicions surrounding Stanislav did not prevent family and friends from participating in the search after work and on weekends. About 10 people regularly participate, including strangers who help and show concern. Law enforcement, family, and friends persisted in their search in hopes of finding answers. Svetlana Mayova, Seseg's aunt, shared that they told their children that their mother had left but did not explain what happened. Nina Nora, Stanislav's mother, remains hopeful, believing that her son is alive until proven otherwise. The complete silence following the public outcry was stunning, leaving people confused and questioning why Liza Alert stopped searching despite finding important leads. On May 29th, authorities broke the silence with an official statement declaring murder as the main theory. The main suspect was the person who entered Seseg's car near the shopping center. Efforts to enhance video footage to identify this person are underway, in addition to other investigative and search activities in the criminal case. Up to now, the case has had a number of official leads. Items such as Stanislav's coat, keys, and driver's license were found in the vacant lot, along with other unidentified items. A large blood stain was also discovered in this area. Seseg Buinova's car was found without a license plate and covered in blood. CCTV footage recorded the route of the Mitsubishi that Seseg drove on the night of April 11th to 12th, along with testimony from witnesses who witnessed the incident. Forensic and genomic tests are being conducted based on available evidence, but no further information has been released at this time. The popular theory is that Seseg and Stanislav were murdered. Boris Buo, Seseg's husband, is the main suspect. His underlying motive may have been his wife's infidelity, although this remains speculative. Seseg's relatives said no compromising correspondence was found on her computer. Boris admitted to being questioned by investigators multiple times and passed a polygraph test. However, some details raise doubts about Boris's involvement. First, his previous work in law enforcement and the fact that the unknown man showed a service ID suggests a possible connection. Second, Boris's strange business trip on the day his wife disappeared, 1,500 miles away, appears to be a preemptive alibi. The suspicious nature of the trip, ostensibly to capture stray dogs over such a long distance, further increased suspicion. Third, Buo's expensive car was not destroyed. After all, it is jointly owned property, and in an emergency, the other spouse can always manage it. The second theory is that Stanislav was deeply in love with a woman who did not reciprocate his feelings and then kidnapped her. This raises a few questions. Who was the third person in the car? What is their purpose? Is Seseg alive? And if so, where is she? Another possibility is a criminal fight over debts. It is conceivable that Seseg sought financial assistance from individuals with criminal records, perhaps to start a business or prepare for a beauty pageant. When it came time to pay off her debt, something went wrong, which may explain her desire to moonlight as a taxi driver. On the day she disappeared, she asked her husband for some money, probably a small amount, but it showed she was donating money. Stanislav's presence in Seg's car may indicate that she did not tell Boris about her financial problems, but instead brought a sports friend along for protection. Killing the debtor would be illogical for the creditor, since it would be more profitable to repay the debt. The fourth version, although trivial, seems plausible. Seseg and Stanislav may have encountered an unstable fan base, especially after Seseg gained wider recognition from the Mrs. Buryatia 2024 contest. The criminal may have been a secret admirer who made present a morbid delusion. There's also a theory suggesting that Seseg and Stanislav might have orchestrated their own disappearance, carefully staging a crime scene in hopes that time would eventually erase the memory of their actions. But this explanation seems unlikely, given the circumstances. Seseg was a devoted mother, deeply attached to her children, and the idea that she would simply abandon them goes against everything we know about her. Similarly, Stanislav had strong family ties, with a mother and sister who depended on him. It's hard to imagine that they would choose to build their happiness on the pain and suffering of those they loved. As we delve into this perplexing case, it becomes clear that there are numerous theories, each with its own set of possibilities. Yet for every question answered, new ones arise, shrouding the truth in even more mystery. Perhaps, with time, the case of Seg and Stanislav will reveal its secrets, shedding light on what truly happened on that fateful day. Or maybe this will remain one of those baffling disappearances that forever eludes understanding, leaving us to wonder what really transpired. This investigation has certainly brought us closer to unraveling the enigma, but the ultimate truth may remain just out of reach, locked away in the shadows of the unknown.
Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Don't miss out on the pulse-pounding updates from true crime stories. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell. Stay tuned for the latest in dramatic and thrilling crime narratives that will keep you at the edge of your seat.